She continued. A cold sound reached everyone's ears. What are your plans? Unafraid to look back. I just saw the Kier club shake a little bit. Then every rumbling sound came. The mace was lifted off the ground. The Khan saw this scene. I am terrified of this power. Most definitely raise the mace in your hand. Looking arrogantly at the crowd. 7. The evil child says. Tell me. 425. Kill me. My face shows up TIA panicked. Pointing to the surest shaky human side of the judgment. He's not dead yet. Not even a little hurt. And he's got the strength to press him down. Lady, I have more power right here. Aggressive little lip biting. Trampling Khan aggressively biting lips to increase strength. But no matter what, it stays the same without moving. See this situation. The endless cascade of sudden panic. Looking towards the most mortal is filled with unbelievable looks. Maybe the rumors are true. This man's power is stronger. Father Khan a lot. Keep your eyes on them. Most likely laughing an hour of whispering. Looks like we're talking a little inconvenient. This big thread is thrown away. In his eyes flashed the ribbon. The worst of the world suddenly squeezed. And then there was an explosion. The Iron Club immediately crumbled. People roll their eyes in horror when they see this. Death Kim destroyed this paradise is 5 spiritual soldiers. This guy used his flesh and blood to directly explode. This is still the Sao. This moment, they are finally more afraid of the worst. Probably the most slowly towards the waterfall. The corners of the lips reveal a strange demonic curve. What's your plan? Can you give me more details? The child has difficulty swallowing a sip of saliva. Silence without words. The monk also had a forehead full of cold sweat. Most definitely a little apprehensive. Real, he can't let his lady suffer. I thought about it and rushed towards the worst. Rotten boy. Most likely, he didn't even look at his eyes. Gently swinging Kia's big hammer hand also in the blink of an eye. Broken by the strongest. Fall to the ground. His arm was also directly broken. I was on one side watching everything. In my heart that never ceases to tremble. Just an arbitrary trick could have broken the hand of the Khan. This guy is clearly a monster. It's not far away. Goodbye to the bow. Take an aggressive arrow. The worst shot. His head was full of cold sweat. For the most difficult character to solve as Track. This is also the first time he made it. Each of the Kim Taoists does not follow each other. Towards the most evil shot. Consciousness is hard to imagine. One can shoot out so many. There are also 5 spiritual soldiers. Each arrow, they are all aimed at the most vulnerable position of Track. Slightly frowned most firmly, my eye said. Here are 8 scouts. Destruction of 9 heavens. Go to the father to stand up. Silver cascade towards knee. Probably the most suspicious. I ask you to die. Slowly nod your head. Most likely, a little horror came out. Not bad. No tiger god gunner ever poisoned her battle sky. There's actually some power. Don't think that. Now you're the only ones interested in intelligence. We are also very technical. That's the great skill of this brother Vi. I've heard it for a long time too. Even if his bow is stronger, I can't fight my god. His eyes sniffed a silver hair. Suddenly the devil laughed for an hour. Quickly pulled back the con, ha ha ha. I can't believe the bad boy. This is a new technique of dying. Si Kwai Tong. Since training. Not used in front of outsiders. See how you stop it. The worst of them is looking towards the waterfall. Li Ni is a little fascinated. At this time, there was a mutation. The sky's glow suddenly diffused. Turned around and circled the sky. Finally, he rushed towards the worst of the world. Form a circle around Y. Not too sure. Most people don't have too much interest in this. Sigh for an hour, raise your right arm. The surgeon shook his head. Defeat the 9 heavens in the legend. And yet, it's 1001. There's no boring power. Smiling with pleasure. Turn around and look at the waterfall. Let's bet on these arrows. If you can shoot me in the nose. The head on the deck rises. If not, I hope you can honestly declare that you have. What's the plan? Hear this word. I'm so glad to meet you, I agree. I don't believe so many names. One side shot didn't hit him. See, this bet is sure to win. Most likely, I don't even notice. Just calmly stand there. Speak up as agreed. This one moment. The worst part is that the eyes suddenly condense. Then the wind suddenly came out. And then I'm looking at the big tree in the distance. There's someone hiding there. It's the one who shot out these hundreds of arrows. That's good. I can also feel this invisible vibration coming in. Know that the enemy wants to investigate you, but there's no Buddha. He doesn't believe. It's probably surrounded by arrows. What can I do with Tim a moment later? There is time to manage him. But right now, an unbelievable event has arisen. Slowly raise your right hand. Like a king who can't stand it. At the moment the light has gone to the front of the chest. The most likely is to shoot me. The rocket immediately turned in a different direction and flew away. The man hiding on one side saw the light. Towards me in amazement cried out in. Soon after that the rumbling of violence. All the lights that create the dazzling rays. And then there's a rustling sound. Struggling to fall from the tree. I can only whisper a few words. This side is most likely to look away. The glow inside the pupils gradually disappears. Smiling for an hour. Ha ha ha. It's not true that tigers are scavengers. I really care about these hundreds of arrows. There is no arrow 7. Submissive, submissive. And then I'm amazed by the way you did it. The most sure look. Thoroughly naive. Just arrived at the top. What happened a little bit, they don't know. It makes such a big noise. It's really ungodly. Probably most people don't pay attention to them. Smiling for an hour. Revealing the demonic curve. Looking at the waterfall, he said. The girl. Let's make this bet as if we win and lose. The girl. Probably the 2 types of people we hate the most. One of them doesn't know how to measure himself. The other is not keeping promises. You have committed a taboo today. I don't expect you to repeat another taboo. Otherwise, I will not be gentle. Tarpaulin streamney. This moment was so angry. This boy that day at King's Son. Monopolizing emulsification and geological genius. Then release her beast. Now I'm not ashamed. Proud to say she didn't keep her promise. It's really shameless to the extreme. But you can't betray the dog. I can't tell you their plan. Come to think of it, she shouted out loud, kill me. His eyes sniffed softly. The most obvious is a cruel smile looking at her. Hey ha ha, you think I dare not accept for 126. Already said. On the most evil hand, there was a red light. Pay close attention to the intents. Suddenly right now. A loud scream came out. Track Butler downhill love. Turn your head and look back. Is the Fong School San family riding a horse? Rush to look to the surest side of the right to speak. They're from the Canary Velvet Company. No matter how big a crime you commit. It's also great. It can't be handled arbitrarily. Take a look at him. Probably laughing for an hour. Look, the generals know what they've done. Then you should know that they assassinated me. The housekeepers. Their way of doing things today is all personal. It has nothing to do with the general. If you kill them, how the whole situation has developed. You can get 8 to 9/10. It can't be the result. That's what the butler wanted. Jia-san's school unpredictable wind. Of course, I'm sure most people are not very kind. Not even taking advantage of it. Then solemnly said, if the butler leaves today, let them go. The old man assured me. The next day they will be useful to the butler. You are a wise man. There should be no need for the old man to reveal himself. Stare at him. Most definitely the eyelids moved slightly. In the heart of thought. Jia Chongfeng said with the most certainty. These words. There are simply 2 results. One is who's responsible. But most likely the human SAO can be so easily subdued. At that time, it will definitely make the universe chaotic. Otherwise, you will let the dog take advantage of the gap. On the other side, if the velvet cane comes, the whole universe is united. It doesn't matter if 8 houses are moving forward together. On the most certain part, you cause trouble and you don't search. Hurry up for me. Take your life to the battlefield. In this way, Emperor not only weaken the power of the great powers to maintain stability, but also convenient teaching. Velvet canes show the majesty of heaven and dance the most bipartisan. By then, everyone here is a loser. Only the emperor is the winner. It can be said that the stork disputes the fisherman profitably. Jia-san's school silent wind. Look at the most solid side. He knows he understands. Smiling and nodding. Talk to smart people and worry less. At this time, I would probably laugh for an hour. Said the Prime Minister. Then I'll give them to you. You owe me a lover this time. You need to pay well later. Unconsciously frown. The school quickly shook his head. Burst out laughing. As if he owed you a lover. The next day, if something goes wrong, certain to offer assistance. Hear this word. Most likely a small nod. In his eyes appeared Tia Dean too. Then turn around and leave. A while later inside the restaurant of Kanung, Master Jia Sand looked at the two people. The silver cascade and the ghost are horrified. Run to. Look at the scene of the two dead. Terrified cry out goodbye. Brave warrior of Kanung. He is the second and third of 8 guards. The two men joined forces. Do not cause the enemy any harm. On the contrary, they are gently beaten for disability. Most likely, in the end, it's about how scary the master is. If there's no school sand in time to show up, I'm afraid the consequences are really unpredictable today. Coldly looking at everyone, Jia San Feng sighed and shook his head. The two old men have already told you. Don't make fun of your kids. Excuse me, General Sand. I can't teach you. I hope you will. Later, he will be strict in his discipline. We're not going to do that kind of damage anymore. The silver cascade hurriedly embraced the right to bow the guilty. Finally, he glanced at the silver waterfall. Glare one eye. Suddenly at this very moment a tremor struck. Shouts bend slowly appear. Look at people holding power. Then he turned to the wind and said, "The Prime Minister. As you predicted, there must be some in the back. But I'm sure this is really good." What didn't see the shadow? It's not just the two tails. Even we can't keep up. Haha, then they went back to work. They don't follow us. It must be your majesties. But this young man must be discreet. Lie like a tiger. Want to supervise him. The sky is very difficult for anyone to do. The Takir tails are just waiting to touch the ocean. Smiling contemptuously for an hour, Jia San Chong Feng looks at Holen Sai too. Nodding praise hidden maiden Holen Sai. You are on the contrary very smart. Find the old man to help you first. Not bad, not bad. Holen is not arrogant. Bowing his head modestly said, "The Prime Minister is so grateful. It's probably too perverted. I guess we all are. Only the whole army was destroyed. You can only invite the Prime Minister." The wind also nodded slightly. I am not wrong this time. If there is no sand, the Prime Minister will appear. My sister, and these people. I'm just afraid that they're all going to suffer from the arrogance of Kier. Jia Sai Chong Feng laughed and shook his head. The man is so commendable. This time, even if the old man doesn't show up. To guess with the mind of the mortals. It will not be arbitrary to kill the envoys of your velvet cane. OH eyebrows unconsciously frown. The silver cascade is a little unclear. Ask your sister to talk. The man just showed up dead. Shaking your head in rejection, give comments. Master Feng laughed and said, "This boy's scary place. It's not just the human part. There's also a deep sense that he does not see the bottom. His previous aggressive appearance. Maybe it was because he wanted to show his face. Who comes out to help you? It's no different to identify yourself as the person closest to you. Even if your majesty knows now. The old man is quietly talking to you." In the eyes involuntarily shrinks. Storm surge cascade urgently speak up. So how do we do that? Slowly put on your hand. Master Jia San Feng also did not mind saying no mind. Conspiracy and ocean conspiracy are different. Where the conspiracy can never come to light. And duo conspiracy doesn't have that much effort. Even if they know, why? How should that develop? It's still how it develops. The old man couldn't stop it. However, it is better not to be detected. Slightly frowned, thinking of the waterfall, and the wind sighed a little. Then I couldn't understand looking at him. The Prime Minister. You know the purpose of the world because you want to show up. Jia Longfeng sand in his eyes appeared TIA theme too. Deep down say it's because physical matter is out of hand or not. The old man could not guarantee either. Not the most afraid, but the most afraid. He has met countless people throughout his life. Counting back and forth, there are only two. He counts as one. OH eyebrows unconsciously frown. Everyone cried out in surprise. Must know that Jia Longfeng sand is a false consensus of heaven and earth, probably the most. At this age, he must have been born not long ago. But even he couldn't see through. How can this be so? They can see their own minds. Master Feng laughed and shook his head. Maybe before the 100 years of war. I can look out a little. But then it's completely invisible. Or basically don't want to go see. Because in that family war, he did something that surprised everyone. What is it that the white-haired child's eyes lit up suspiciously asked? Laughed and shook his head. Jia Chongfeng sighed a deep voice and said, angry because of the red light. That time. It was the first time I saw him because a woman had died. Rational. 427 remember that year. The farmer could not help but close his eyes. Finally sighed and spoke. He knows it in his heart, but he keeps doing it. However, from now on, the gods couldn't guess him anymore. The old man did not dare to guess at his own heart. Crazy and a mechanical switch. His bottom line was that no one could grasp for sure. Now you know. Old man, because Sao is willing to reveal. Have I come to save you? Because the current elder is also difficult to predict. He was either insane or sober at the time. Hear this word. People are immediately amazed. A person who acts without any marks. Which inherent mark is the most terrifying? People like that are really hard to deal with. Another dimension. I'm probably going to a small tea shop right now. That place a long time ago. There was a shadow of a black person sitting there waiting. Sense that there's no AI follow. Probably the most arrogant to come. Sit across from the kier. Wait until he sits down. The man in black began to speak. I can't believe there will be a day. You invited me out again. Smiling for an hour. Most likely refused to give the opinion to say. We're like old friends we haven't seen in years. Go out for tea. It's normal to talk a little. Stop saying that kind of thing. You must know. There are no enemies between us. Between me and you. There's not much love to talk about. The black man lifted the teacup and clicked his lips. Speak up coldly. Unconsciously raised eyebrows. Probably the most humorous, laughing, teasing, screaming. You're so brave. Do you believe that I will put your head down now and then? Or not? I can't believe it, slowly shaking my head. The man in black said, if you want to kill me at any time, you can. Even if I am not your opponent. But if you ask me out today, It's not just killing me that's simple. Stare at the opposite side. Most likely, he laughed. Turns out you've made a lot of progress over the years. It's not just the power of the mind, it's also the courage. It's very similar to that year. Let's just say that according to our detective's report, your position is not low now, but also rowing to boats. Why threaten me? But most probably the world hasn't finished yet. The man in black spoke coldly. It's useless, my masters. We all agree with this kind of behavior. This can't be seen as our weakness. I think you've misunderstood. I don't want to threaten you either. I just want to negotiate a little bit with you. Are you interested or not? Stare at the kier. Probably closer to every word. Steering be a boat. Step into my lost home. The body cannot shake. People are scared to call you crazy. We are the enemy. I am absolutely not going to help you. Coldly looking at him. Probably the most contemptuous of old lips. You are at this level. What do you see? Laughing for an hour. The most obvious is a little air. Before the 100 race. I once met a farmer once. Talk about the world. He asked me at that time and got impermanent, even though they're all plotters. But they all have their own interests. I had to be a third-class butler in the United States. In the end, for what? I only answered him one question. My ambition is much greater than his. So in my eyes, no matter what the god of operators, or the first intelligence of this empire, we are all much stronger than them. For your part, even they can do it. Your structure is too small. The body should not be lightly shaken. The man in black was startled for a long time. Most likely, he looked at him quietly. I didn't see anyone speak for a long time. Most likely, he decided to stand up and speak. See, you still don't think so, forget it. Though so, I don't have much time to think carefully. Most definitely, I just got up. Kier was in a hurry to stop it. Today, the phenomenon of the sky has become you. How can I guarantee the final victory? It will definitely be your home. Because Lao Tzu is here. They will laugh until the end. Remember, you are the most arrogant person to say that. I let you sail the last 3 boats. No matter which side wins, you can all share a cup of soup. Just think for a moment, the black man continued. But want to step on this big boat of the butler track. How do we do it? I won't let you sink my 2 boats. The most obvious is the devil's smile. You're not stupid, even if I told you to. You will not do either. Everyone has a mind. If Lost Ra is unreliable, you still have a boat you can sail. The man in black mused a little. Slowly nod your head. If it doesn't conflict with our current interests, then I can cooperate with you. That's good. It's actually very simple. I don't have to work deeply with you. Just at the right time you do that. I assume you're on my boat. In my eyes there's a flash of light. Most likely close to his ear, he whispered softly. The man in black listened. I can't help but be startled. Look at the most obvious. Are you crazy? You will be a leopard yourself. Do you think you are one of the 3 legends? Indifferent shrug. Most probably refused to give an opinion. There's no other way. Now everyone's pointing their fingers at me. Proverbs spoken. If we don't go to hell, who goes to hell? Hear this word. The man looked at him and said in admiration. Now I understand. How did you get to where you are today? To others cruel. It's even more cruel to me. More than what you told me to do. I've also roughly guessed. I can only say, sure, is that it's probably capable of turning the world around. Ha ha ha, get encouraged. Then bang your thumb and have fun. In my eyes there's a flash of light. Most likely happy to raise your hand and laugh. The man in black looked at him for a moment. Finally, I raised my hand and clapped. They both turned around and left. Disappear in the dark night. Another side. The impermanent leader is sitting in a small floor. Courteous tea. At this moment, someone suddenly appeared. Look who just arrived. The impermanent leader lit a cup of tea. Say with a smile. Maybe the butler will finally come. I don't know because I invited the old man here to negotiate. The wrong person is the most likely. After leaving a long time ago. Most likely, I went to this place. Most likely, he laughed. Hey haha, a god of mathematics. Can the world champion guess? The impermanent leader suddenly shook his head. Just like the old tea, ha ha ha. If others ask, the old man will guess. If you are the butler. He really didn't dare to guess. You keep talking straight. I didn't pay attention to his words. Most probably decided to get straight to the point. I invite you to come here this time. There's only one thing to ask. Say it, take it easy, put on your hands and laugh. Keep your eyes on him. Probably the most incomprehensible smile. Shenta asked the leader. Do you have what you want now? Hear this word. The movement of impermanence suddenly stopped. In a moment, rolling his eyes in amazement. 428 for a long time. The impermanent leader said coldly. The butler doesn't have to talk to me. It's about to be. But your appearance. Let my great work be dissolved into a cloud of smoke. Hear this word. Probably laughing for an hour. He said, can you blame me? Even without me. Not still Chojia-san Prime Minister Sao. Even if there's no Prime Minister. Now the Emperor was no less. Not waiting for him to finish. Unusual people don't want to hear any more nonsense. Just cut it off, okay? What do you want to say? Take a deep breath. Most certainly on the one hand, he said solemnly. I just want to say. What you are in the kingdom. Even 15 years of hard work can't be done. Maybe it's easy to get lost in a family. In the restrained eye is not constricted. He looks the most certain. Suddenly speaking up. Track the butler. You dug the corner of the wall and dug the whole place. I have to give you 7 hopes. What you want, I'm afraid you don't know. And the lost have you. Take away is not excess SAO. If we're not lost, why? His eyes softened. Most people look at impermanent leadership. What can you say? The impermanent leader cannot help but cry out fear, but very quickly react. Just laugh and shake your head. If the butler is not lost, that family is an unholy army. It doesn't make any sense. Ha ha ha, if we were to leave, I will arrange everything. I won't let it divide by 7. More. We have a plan that needs to be completed. Most likely laughing arrogantly for an hour, he looked at the impermanent leader and said seriously, Leader Xian, the Prime Minister used to tell me at first. You and he are both assistants, but they all have their own interests inside. I don't know what the Prime Minister wants. What you want, I have a clue. Remember when you said, 3 of us in the same place. The world is invincible. At that time we discovered, even though you're presumptuous, but the more we hope to create merit. Unprecedented achievements before. Now I give you all this. The voice has ended. Most likely, it comes next to impermanence. Whisper a few words. Finished listening to why. It is true that the more you listen, the more you are afraid, terrified to the core. The face is not retractable. The impermanent leader looks in horror at the meaning. The butler is so generous. You want to unify all 6. Most likely, he laughed. Refused to say I've never thought of. I'm not a pure schemer anyway. Should still take the cultivation master towards heaven. But this 1,000-year-old relic. Your boss must be very interested. Impermanent leadership contemplates a battle. Slowly nod and frown. Not wrong. It's true that the great feat never existed before. But with the situation of the emperor, it's not a problem to do this. Why did the old man have to run to the lost house? Because the lost have something special. Only we can provide. Laughing mystically, probably most deeply said, but now, I did not force the priest either. Decided so quickly. You just need to do something for me. I'll assume you're in the same boat as me. After that, you are still the king's servant. Help as much as you can. If the lost family finally disappears, you won't lose too much. Impermanence do eyes turn last. Intense nod. Probably the most popular getting met laughed out loud. Finally, close to his ear, he whispered. So far, all the pieces have been laid down. Just waiting later, based on the identity of the person who escaped his destiny. Let's start turning the tide. 5 days later, on the day of the centenary of the emperor, the world was congratulated by the Great Commission. The delegation of Kanung was sanctified. The whole country congratulated everyone on the prosperity of Hung Thin. Most likely, the world is currently in the kingdom. Dress the corner of the mouth hanging wicked smile. Party of the day. That's the origin of it all. It's also the end of it all. Say it and walk out. The man of the house was soon there waiting for him. I just saw why. State domination. I can't help but laugh out loud with an exclamation. Track the butler. Today you're going on a date with the marshal. Hai also laughed and nodded. Most likely, the world refused to give the idea of mysterious laughter. Anyway, give me the title of the world as first great steward. Then give him his face at the feast.